Hey guys, it's Cody here. I just wanted to make a review on the Boosted Stealth. I've had this thing for right around a year almost. I think it's coming up in the next month. Would have had this for a year. I've driven this over 400 miles, and I just want to give you guys a review. I think I've driven 430, 440. I can't remember exactly the number. I'll show you guys on screen here. But yeah, I just want to show you guys all the different pros and cons of having a boosted board, especially in my case, being a college student and all that good stuff. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So with the boosted board, I think the best part is really just the thrill seeking, honestly. This thing is super fast and you can actually go pretty far on it. Which brings me to the first point. It's great for college. If you're trying to, be eco-friendly, whatever you want to call it, reduce your carbon footprint. If you live close enough to campus on the slowest mode, which is 14 miles, and you don't mind going 12 miles an hour, you can get around campus, and you definitely can, make it home wherever else you want to call it. As long as also with the one of the pros of this, it is fast in the sane mode. I'm not sure what the mode's called. It is fast. I think the top speed 24 miles an hour. So if you are riding on the road, you shouldn't have any problem with being too slow and holding cars up, which I know on some campuses most of the time speed limit's 20-ish, around there. At least I know for North Texas the speed limit is 20. Doesn't go any higher than that across all campus. So I have no time passing cars. And I think there is a mode specifically. I think it's expert or eco mode. You can go 20 exactly, so you don't have any problem with that. Another con with this is that some cities do ban skateboards, non-motorized skateboards, but it's just classified as skateboards. They ban them on streets, which isn't good for the e-skate community, because most of the time in most states, I know for the state of Texas, you can't ride motorized vehicles on streets. So that might be a con for you buying a e-skate, making your own, making an electronic bike, whatever electronic vehicle you have. Is most motorized vehicles aren't allowed on sidewalks. And some cities have legislation, like as in Denton, like I was saying, outright ban having any skateboards on streets, regardless if it's public or private land. Another con is, yes, it is very, very expensive. I think when I bought this, it was on a small sale. I got it for $1,500, which is a very large amount of money. I had to pay for it. I had to pay for it. It took quite a bit of money to buy this. So that's one con, is that it has a very, very high entry level entry price. There are cheaper ones. I think the boosted mini is only, I think, $9.99, or you can go used. I would recommend for your first board, if you're not looking to spend upwards of $1,500 or $1,000, I would recommend going with the Gen 2 boosted boards used, because the parts to replace, per se, like the belts on the bottom here, stuff like that, motors are widely available online and on the boosted store still, and they cost right around the same as the third gen, which is this board. I'd also recommend building your own if you are knowledgeable on the thing, on building skateboards or electric or anything like that. I would recommend building your own. I've seen faster skateboards made for $400. Like, I've seen people make 30 mile an hour, 40 mile an hour, and a lot longer range, 14 miles at those speeds, for like a quarter of the price of this. So this is I just bought this instead of building my own for the quality. I know that it won't break. The remote's very reliable. Let me show you the remote. It's actually my favorite remote out of every one. So very simple design. It is just a trigger right here and a wheel. If you don't press the trigger, it doesn't go anywhere. So I think it's a very simple design. And it gives you, here I can turn on the board real quick so I can show you the indicator. So very simple, blue light is connected. It should, when it's blinking, it's telling you what mode. It's 1 through 5, 1 slowest, 5 is insane mode. Green is obviously on in battery. And if you press the triple dots, I'm not sure if you can see that, it shows you the indicator for battery, 5 dots. On the high mode, I think I can get 6 miles. But yeah, it's a very safe design. It's not going to go anywhere unless I press the trigger, which you can hear there. So that's the nice thing is with the Stealth is that they've actually edited the motors and added aluminum for the sprockets on there. So it's actually quieter. I know it may not sound very quiet in here. I'm just in a closed room, so it's going to echo and sound a lot louder on camera. Also, another feature with the remote is it's easy to turn off the board instead of having like remote, then the board. Just pull back trigger, hold down the power button, which is this 3, and then lights go off, both board and remote are off. So that's definitely a good feature to have on this. Also, another pro for having one of these boards is that the electric cost is super cheap overall. I've had this for a year, like I said, 400 something miles, and I think I've basically spent in electricity costs 50 cents. Like, for Texas, you know, it's cheap electricity, but 400 miles is a long wait just to pay 50 cents for. So if you're looking at it from an eco-friendly and a wallet-friendly for gas, if you don't drive or don't want to drive and want to keep your car, whatever, this is an easy way to, you know, save money. I've saved plenty of money driving, instead of driving, you know, 2 miles to school and buying a parking pass, which is about 400 bucks a year. I've saved plenty of money. I think I've saved 800 by not buying parking pass for the last year. And then obviously gas anywhere else I need to go that's close to campus. So also another con with these is that it depends where you are if you can make this a main source of travel. First reason being, you only got 14-ish miles to go anywhere on the slowest mode, and it's not even good enough to go up very steep hills. So you have to walk up hills. So it really does depend where you live. If you live in New York City, like Casey Neistat, obviously, you're gonna have no problem. Everything's within a few blocks of where you need to be. Your work might be, you know, a few miles down the street. Plenty of places to go within that range. But here in Texas, I can only go to campus because campus is 2 miles away. So I have limitations on where I can go, but I try to utilize that wherever I can, so I don't have to worry about driving those places. Like, I'm not going to drive to school if I can just skate to school. Also, another thing with travel is that if you're doing long distance travels, bring your charger. Like if you're planning on going, you know, further, if you're going to go further than 14 miles, you know, whatever, down and back, like that's over 14 miles, bring your charger. I know it's going to be clunky, but you have to. And you need to map out where you're going to charge. So for me, I used to skate to work, which would be 5 miles, and I'd always be on the highest mode just so I don't have, you know, I'm not a burden, I'm not getting there quick enough. So I'd always have to bring it so I could actually have enough juice to get back, which I've actually ran out of battery a few times, not realizing my battery wasn't fully charged, which on the slowest mode, I got an extra little bit of juice left, but it is not going to like propel you, you know, very, very far, even if you're on low battery. Like I had 20% battery and I got 2 miles out of it. So I was really cutting it close and I was like rolling into my house basically. So yeah, that's with the 400 mile review. There are a few things I will warn you about. The board isn't without repair at a certain point. One thing I've already done, which overall, it depends on how you do it. If you buy through Boosted, it's going to cost you a bit more. Everything's a bit more expensive because it's Boosted stuff. But I did that for at least my first time. I wanted to make sure I got Boosted stuff. So one thing you repair is going to be bearings. I've already replaced bearings on it just because over time, I'm not sure if you can see right here in the center, it's all black. That's from the road. And over time, it gets inside the bearings and starts grinding, and you don't get as much distance, and it's just less smooth. Um, so you got bearings you need to repair. My wheels you got to repair eventually. These wheels are starting to get really, really beat up and cracking in the center of the wheel. So that's one thing you need to watch out for, is that wheels will eventually need to be replaced. Also, belts. Right here, you can see belts here. I've already replaced this once. I basically replaced them. It depends on how you ride. If you're riding on the slow mode and not speeding up, slowing down very quickly, you could easily go, I don't know. I don't really know exactly the numbers, but I was not right. I think you could probably get twice as much as I did. I got 400 miles on these belts, these last ones I had, before they gave up on me. I actually am a very aggressive rider, but it's not aggressive constantly. Like, most of the time I'm just cruising. So I got 400 miles out of the belts before I had to replace them, and that was just they just started falling apart when I reversed. And yeah, so it's not a main concern about having like the belts go out on you. You'll notice it because your belt will start skipping when you're braking, and that's when you know, okay, replace the belts. And I would recommend, for the belts, they cost $25 on the website, on boosted.com, but you're guaranteed shipping within 1 to 2 days, business days. Keep that in mind. But if you're okay with waiting, you can get a cheaper price online from Gates, which is the brand itself. Basically the belt is a 255 3M15, and if you can get those off the Gates website, they're nylon corded ones, you can get them for $7 each. So 14, maybe a few dollars shipping. You can probably get $10 basically off that price of yours. In the end, you might not save that much money, but if you're planning on replacing belts often, if you are an aggressive rider, I'd recommend doing that. Bearings, there's really not much you can do because some of these bearings are custom just because of how large, like on the back wheel here, since the motor and this has a sprocket on the end of the wheel, the bearings are like 3 times the size as a normal skate bearing. So bearings are not much you can do unless you want to replace the small ones with Reds or whatever your preferred brand is. Other than that, I mean, my tape is pretty beat up because I've taken a few crashes on this, but you're gonna want to, like, if you're replacing your tape, if you want boosted tape, I looked up online today actually, it will cost you like $105 to replace the tape because you're gonna have to send it to Boosted and they'll replace it. So I would recommend, highly recommend, buy your own tape, because this tape is not very aggressive. I can rub my fingers on it and it doesn't tear my skin up. Buy your own tape online or at your favorite skate shop, wherever you prefer to shop, because that is way overpriced. And yeah, it might be labor to put it on, but there's plenty of YouTube videos online and whatever else you need to actually put the tape on. So yeah, in conclusion, so with the Boosted board, I've driven plenty and plenty of miles on it. And I can say, for a college student who has the money at the time, save up all you can, every penny, it is an amazing mode of transport. I haven't had a time where this has failed on me, or this has saved me so much money, gas. It's keeping my car healthy by not driving on it. So highly recommend for people in college going around campus. Just be careful. Cops do have a problem with these. In a lot of states, they're trying to ban these. Go online, find petitions in your city to stop this from happening. I'd recommend looking online for that. But for people outside of this, like, out in the country or anywhere with long distances, I wouldn't recommend getting it unless it's just for leisure or toy. That's up to you. But I would highly recommend this for college students, city goers. I mean, this thing is very versatile and very fast. I will say very fast, and will save you money in the end. And for those eco-conscious people, this is an easy way to start instead of transferring straight to electric cars, because those can be very expensive or just kind of cruddy because they're super cheap. this is an easy way to start your journey into being eco-friendly and, going for the environment and going electric. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. I'm gonna have some more videos coming out, vaulting and vlogging wise. So yeah, stay tuned, and I will see you guys next week.